Morning, guys. Give me 1 second. Let me turn my music off here.
Morning.
Good morning. How are you guys? Ms. Hernandez, Tony, welcome. Jane, Ariane, Ashley. Hey, guys, I appreciate you guys being here on time. We only have an hour, so although we have 30 people who actually registered, I'm not going to wait for those people to join. We'll get started, and then as they join, we'll bring them into the discussion. Really quickly, though, I wanted to say one thing. This is a safe space, right? This is us practicing and getting used to what to say. And I want people who tend to not want to raise your hand to participate. I just want to encourage you to step out of your comfort zone this morning and actually participate in this event. This is the way you really level up. This is the way you improve, by actually being part of the conversation. I know a lot of you will be tempted to, take notes. And if you choose to take notes, I'm definitely okay with that. But one thing I did want you to know is that I am recording the session, and I will send a copy of the recording to everyone who registered. What this is going to allow you to do is go back and play the video and pause it and take notes. And that way you actually, can be part of the conversation right now and not feel like you have to be so plugged into taking notes. You'll have an opportunity to review it later on YouTube and take notes at your leisure. So hopefully that, free up some mental space so you can actually focus on the conversation that we're having right now. Marlo, hey, Felipe, what's going on? So I want to go ahead and get started. And what I wanted to do is kind of based on what you guys sent me. I have a whole list of different objections and questions that you guys sent over for me today. There were a few questions, and I will get to that. I'm going to hopefully wrap this up at around about 9:15 with the role play. And then we'll spend like the last 15 minutes discussing some of the questions that you guys had that you sent over to me when you registered for the event. So know that you'll have an opportunity to have a little bit of a Q&A, but I do want to spend 45 minutes going through some objection handling. So what I'd like everyone to do who wants to participate in this, I want you to raise your hand and just keep it raised, because what I want to do right now is throw some objections out to the people who want to get out of their comfort zone and actually participate at a high level. So get out of your comfort zone, throw your hand up so that we can actually do some objection handling. Ashley, I love it. Ms. Hernandez, I'm waiting for you. Tony, what's going on? You guys don't have to do it. However, I will tell you, I don't expect you to have the answer. I don't expect you to handle the objections like a pro. This is your learning. So what I'd love to be able to do is maybe give you an objection. If you don't handle it the correct way, then we can always correct it. I can give you some feedback on what you can say better. I have some really good people on here that know their scripts. Well, at least I know they know their scripts. I got Al on here. I got, Jason Shagawat on here. I have Diego on here. Ariane's on here. These are people that I know have some experience with scripting and objection handling. So I may give you some feedback, but I also want people like Diego and Jason, Ariane, to feel empowered that if you have something that you would have said differently, or you think the conversation should go a different way, I'm empowering you guys. This is your call as well. Feel free to speak up and give some advice to people as we move along. So Ashley, listen, Ashley Davison, I really appreciate you, calling me. But listen, we've decided we're going to wait until the spring in order to sell our house. And all I want you to do, Ashley, is not dig into my motivation. I don't want you to go through a script. All I want you guys to do when I throw out an objection is overcome that particular objection. Give it your best shot. If you get stuck, just say, I'm stuck, and that's okay. So Ashley, we're going to wait until the spring.
Okay. I hear many people that always feel that, the spring market is a great time. Do you know why the holiday season is a good time to sell?
No, I don't.
So with the holidays, people have their homes decorated, and you have the serious buyers that are looking, in that time frame. So it helps them to kind of feel at home and vision what they could do with the home and their decoration. So it kind of gives them that homey holiday feel, to really fall in love with your home while they're shopping.
So you're saying like the shopping process is an emotional process. So coming out, seeing a home when it's decorated, kind of helps them feel more tied to the house. That's what you're saying.
Absolutely. And then you also have the addition of people who don't want to sell during the holidays because they may be hosting, they may be traveling. So you have less competition in terms of sellers, but at least you know that you have the serious buyers that are actually still looking. And then you have people that, may have to relocate. And some people like to, get their home before the end of the year for, even tax benefits. So there's a lot of factors that go into selling during the holiday season.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Good job, Ashley. Tony, same thing, different answer. I don't want you to give the same answer that Ashley gave. Tony, listen, we're going to wait until the spring.
Well, Ashley's answer was so good, and I wasn't sure what to say about this. But, well, what's happening in the spring for you that's not happening now? What makes the difference for you?
I just always have been told spring's the best time to actually, sell your house. There's a lot of activity out there during that time.
Well, you know what? I think that there's definitely a lot of activity in the spring, but that's one of the reasons why selling in the winter can be so much better for you as the seller. The more people that are listing, the more people that are out there looking. But for you, you're going to have people that are truly looking to buy a house now with less competition on your end as the seller. So when somebody's ready, they're going to be ready, and you're going to be one of the few that are out there. So it can really be an advantage for you.
I think you did a good job handling that. I have a couple of things I would tweak on that. However, good job. You went for it. You went for it.
Thank you.
I want to say one thing really quickly, though. A lot of times, like with objection handling or even having a conversation with the seller, we have this tendency that we want to tell a lot of information. We want to give information. We want them to make a decision based on what we say. That can work a lot of times. However, it's more powerful if you get the seller to come to the conclusion you want them to come to. Right. So as an example, Tony, if you can unmute, I want you to role play this out with me. I'm going to be the agent. You're going to be the seller. And you just told me you want to wait until the spring. And I'm going to say, Ashley, waiting until the spring. Why is that important to you?
Only because I've heard that there's so much more activity, for buyers and sellers during the springtime.
Doesn't surprise me. And, every seller I talk to, they all say the same thing. Here's my question for you, Tony. And just think about simple supply and demand. If all sellers are thinking like you and they all wait until the spring to put their house on the market and there's a flood of inventory that hits the market, how does that tend to affect price?
Well, the prices are going to go up. Down. I'm sorry. The prices are going to go down.
They're going to go,
go down. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. So if you sold it now when there's less inventory on the market and you have less competition, what do you think that could do for your price?
Well, that could drive my price up because there's not a lot of inventory and a lot of people might want to buy my house.
Yeah, and that's what you're looking for, right? To get it sold and make sure that you make the most money possible, correct?
Yeah, of course, of course.
Great. So why don't we sit down and have a conversation about a marketing strategy that we can do now that would sell your home for more money? Whatever you decide, I'm okay with, but let's have a conversation on why now would be the right time, because even you said it. If we wait until spring, you're going to get less money, potentially.
I've never thought about that, but it makes a lot of sense. That would be fantastic.
So the thing I want to point out here, and there's a lot of different ways you can handle that conversation. I got you as the seller to say, if I wait until spring, I'm going to get less money. And I also got you to say that potentially if I sell it now when there's less competition, I may get more money. Now that you said it, it's fact. If I say it, it's my opinion, but you came to that conclusion. And so now I'm going to book the appointment and meet with you because in your mind, you believe if you wait, you're going to get less money.
Yeah, 100%. See the way you changed it. I look forward to doing that. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Jane. Oh, Jane, your hand's up, but Jane, do you want me to call on you? I'm not sure. Do you want me to call on you? I know you were busy. I didn't know if you were still in your meeting.
You can call on me.
Okay, gotcha. So Jane, listen, I appreciate the phone call. We're doing this for sell by owner. We're not listing. Just bring me a buyer.
Bring your buyer. I can appreciate that. Do you want me to bring you a buyer or the buyer? And I'm stuck. Wait a minute. Let me start over.
Okay.
Do you want me to bring you a buyer or the buyer?
I want you to bring me a buyer who can buy my house, who can afford to buy my house. I don't care who they are.
Okay, so before I bring a buyer, I would need to get into your home. I would need to make sure that this home is suitable for the buyer that you would like for me to bring to net you the most money.
All right, let me back you up a little bit. So and Diego and whoever else wants to jump in. What's up, Mr. David? Here's what I want you to think about, Jane. Somebody's telling you, I don't want to list my house, just bring me a buyer, right? I want you to role play this with me, Jane. So you tell me that. Tell me as the agent just to bring you a buyer.
Just bring me a buyer.
You know, Jane, listen, I don't want to insult your intelligence here. If I had a buyer, and in fact, if every agent you talk to actually had a buyer for your property, your home would be sold already, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So actually, what I wanted to talk to you about is how I can help you find the buyer for your home. I mean, that's what you're looking to do, is get this property sold, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do, Jane, is just set up an appointment to come by and show you what I do to bring buyers to my sellers and get their property sold quickly and for top dollar. I can do it today at 4 p.m. or tomorrow at 2. What time works best for you?
We can do tomorrow at 2.
Okay. That's one way you can handle it. That whole script, because listen, when for sale by owners go on, they're putting it on Zillow, for salebyowner.com, they're getting calls from us. They're not getting calls from buyers. And they keep telling all of us, just bring me a buyer. Well, guess what? If we had buyers, your house will be sold. They get that when you say it, especially if they've been on the market for weeks or even months. They've gone through plenty of agents that are promising to bring buyers and bring contracts. It hasn't happened. So there has to be a point in time where they look for another option. And if you notice this, I didn't ask your permission to come by. We have to stop asking permission and start telling people what we're going to do. We have to start taking charge. And so what I told you is, I'm going to stop by. I can do it today or I can do it tomorrow. And you chose, but I didn't ask for your permission. I told you I was coming by. And you'd be surprised if you do that little tweak, Jane, how many people will just say, okay, and they won't push back. So I want you to try that next time. Okay. All right. Perfect. Melissa, listen, I wanted to know, I appreciate the presentation and everything you talked about. 6% is a little steep for our blood. Will you lower your commission and bring it down if we work with you? Oh, you're muted.
No.
I like that answer. And I want you to say that with confidence. And I want you to say, no. Do you have any other questions? And then be quiet. Be quiet. That's the most uncomfortable thing with that objection handler, is to say no and not say anything else.
Yeah.
You got to let them sit there in that uncomfortable silence, and so do you. And then they'll kind of look at each other and they're like, okay, half the time they'll agree if you just say no and don't say anything else.
I know.
So,
I haven't put that into practice, but I know that's what you recommend. So, and then when I say, do you have any other questions? Maybe that's when the other 50% say,
yes.
Well, so-and-so, right? So we can keep going if you want.
No, what I want you to do, though, is practice doing exactly what you did with me. Have someone give you that objection, and I want you to say, no, do you have any other questions? And if it was me, I would do this to keep my mouth shut so I don't talk.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And if you wait, most people are told, see if your agent will, negotiate their commission. And half the time you're only competing with yourself, no one else. So if you hold your ground and you know your value and you say no, a lot of times they'll still give you your 6%. Good job, Melissa. Let's see here. Al, listen, I just met with another agent yesterday, and you guys sound very similar in regards to your marketing plan and the price that you want to list my home for. But this agent said they would do it for 5%. So I actually do like you. I feel like I have a better connection with you. And so if you're willing to do it at 5%, I'll give you the listing.
Well, listen, I could appreciate that. I could appreciate that someone's coming in and offering you what you feel is a better deal. However, let me ask you a question. If the agent that you're working with is not strong in negotiating his own salary, how strong do you think they would be at the negotiating table when it's time to negotiate the price of your property?
I'm not too concerned about that. I'm an attorney. I know how to negotiate. So if it comes down to that, I can handle it myself. What's important to me is what I actually net when I sell this home. And if I can save 1%, that's actually $8,000 for me. So it's a pretty big deal.
Right. I could definitely appreciate that. Now, if the agent is willing to negotiate down his commission to 5%, what's to stop them to negotiating the price of your property down by, let's say, 10 to 20,000, which would be more than 1%?
Yeah, I'm not concerned about that. Like I said, I'm an attorney. I can handle my own negotiations.
Right, right. I could appreciate that. Well, why don't we get together and I can show you why I'm worth that 6% and why investing in that 6% is better than settling for someone who's willing to work for 5%.
All right, I'm gonna pause you there. I know you're driving. I appreciate you even role playing. Let me ask someone like Diego, if you are able to unmute Diego. I know you heard what Al said. How would you handle that if I came to you and I said, listen, somebody else is willing to do it for 5. If I like you, Diego, if you're willing to drop it to 5%, I will give you the listing.
I can definitely appreciate that, David. And first of all, thank you so much. I actually like you as well. You guys are, you're good people. And look, there's a lot of discount agents out there, right? There's people that would even list it for 3%, right? At the end of the day, David, what are you really getting for that 5%?
I mean, based on what he showed me, it sounds very similar to what you do.
Sure, absolutely. And, to your point, marketing is marketing, right? There's a lot of agents that just put it on the MLS, nice pictures, drones, videos, all of this, right? I would hope most of us are doing that right now. That's not the case all of the time. However, what's more important to you right now with the sale of your house? Why you pay me in commission or what you put in your pocket at the end of the sale?
Well, I mean, definitely what I put in my pocket, Diego, which is why I want to say the $8,000. I need that money for the upgrade that we're doing. So that's why I'm interested in saving $8,000.
Sure, absolutely. And we're always looking to save, right? Most of the time, saving is not the best way of actually making money. You would understand that as an attorney. Now, I've already showed you my list to sales price ratio. So you've already seen that my list to sales price ratio is 106%. I've already explained that to you. Now, Steve over here, his list to sales price ratio is at 101. Now, the market does help us a little bit, right? I'm not going to sit here and beat on my chest like I'm the best, right? I am very good. I'm a great agent, but the market is helping us, correct?
I can see where you're going.
Okay, right. So as you can see, all of my listings, my list to sales price ratio is 6%. His is at 101. I'm giving you 5% more. So in reality, you're only paying me 1% to earn you 4% more. Does that make sense?
I'm following. Yes.
Right. So this is exactly why I don't lower my commission, because I know I get my sellers top dollar. So let's do the right thing. Just sign right there. And as soon as I walk out the door, I'll call my stager and my photographer.
All right. All right. I like the way you guys both handle that. Diego, if I did any tweak on that, instead of percentages, I would talk dollar amount. Like if it was an $800,000 property, I would say, I'm going to get you 4% more, which means you're thinking you're paying me $8,000 more commission. However, I'm going to put $32,000 more in your pocket than the other agent. That's what's important to you, isn't it? I would use the numbers versus percentages. They both work, but I just find the number is more powerful. But that's a great way to handle it, man. Really good. Really good. I do want to stick on this for a minute, though. Think about me. I'm telling you guys I'm an attorney, right? Is there anything you could use in handling this objection based on what I do for a living? I'm going to throw this out to Jason. Jason, I'm an attorney. I'm telling you, go ahead, Mr. Chavez. I'm telling you, like, listen, Jason, I got this other agent. They said they'll do it for 5%. I really like you. If you will drop your commission down to 5%, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. Are we assuming, by the way, that we already said the question about earning more and negotiating?
Sure.
Okay, yeah. So you said, oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, well, you said you were an attorney, and I'm sure you charge a fair rate for your work. Is that correct?
Absolutely, I do.
All right, great. Now, what if someone was coming to you and they said, hey, I just met with another attorney and they're saying they can do exactly what you do, but they're charging me, $8,000 less, or I'm not sure exactly what you charge, but a certain percentage less. What would you kind of say to that?
I would say you can take your chance with them. I charge what I charge because of the results I get my clients. So do you want to get off not guilty, or do you want to risk going to jail?
Exactly. And that's what I'm here to do as well. I have very high quality work, just like you do as well. So let's do the right thing, move forward, sign the contract, and you'll get what you actually want out of the deal here. Is that fair enough?
I like that. That was good. That was good. I was, I was thinking in my mind as you were talking how I would wrap that up. And I think you did a good job wrapping it up. And I probably would have said, Jason, something along the lines, by the way, a really good job with that. So just like you would tell them, you can take that chance and risk going to jail, I'm going to tell you, Jason, I'm not saying that other agent can't sell your home. Any agent can sell a home. If what you sell it for is important, then don't risk getting less money. Hire me, because I have already demonstrated what I get my sellers and how much I can net you. Let's go ahead and do the right thing and hire me, because I'm the right agent for the job. Something along those lines. But I like the way you handled that, man. I love seeing you back in the scripting game, dude. It's good to see you.
You never shock me. You always shock me, David. It's just, I was thinking about it. I was like, I got something. And then you said it. I'm like, this is too good though. I'm gonna write this down. Thanks, David.
All right. Ashley, listen, I'm willing to sell my house, but I can't find anything right now. So we're going to wait until we find the right property, and then we'll discuss putting our house on the market. Ashley, there are a lot of Ashleys on here. You want me to say it again?
So you need to buy in order to sell.
I need to sell in order
to buy.
Yes, and I haven't found the right house yet, so I decided I'm just going to wait until we see the right house, and then we can discuss putting my house on the market.
I totally understand, David. And I have a lot of sellers that felt the same way that you feel. But in order to sell, you have to buy. So let's say if you find that right house, David, today, let's say a week goes past and that house comes on the market, and you call me and you say, hey, I found this house. I love this house. Let's go see this house. Let's just say I'm open to showing you this house, right? And we go out and we go see this house. And then you say, I love this house and I need to put in an offer on this house, but your home is not on the market. Let's say you was the seller and I came to you and say, oh, I'm ready to buy this house, right? And someone came to you as the seller and said, oh, they want to buy your house. And you go, great. How are you going to purchase this house? And you go, oh, I have a house to sell. And what would you say to that seller if that buyer told you, well, I didn't put my house on the market yet, so I'm trying to think.
I would tell you I'm not willing to tie my house up right now. I need to find someone who can actually, I need to do a quick move. I need someone who can execute quickly. So I'm not going to tie my house up with you.
Exactly. You wouldn't be willing to accept the buyer that didn't even take the steps to put their house on the market yet. So would you want to be at risk? I don't know. I don't know why I can't think this.
But you started off so good, Ashley.
Yeah,
So I'm going to be you. I'm going to be the agent. You're going to be the seller. And I'm going to say to you, like, Ashley, I understand why you feel that way. I've actually had other clients that have felt the same way. Here's what they found. They found that when they actually identified the right house and they tried to make an offer, no one would accept their offer because their house wasn't on the market and those sellers weren't willing to tie their house up. I mean, Ashley, let me ask you, if you were selling your house right now and you had an offer come in or a couple of offers come in, one person didn't even have their house on the market yet and they needed to sell their home in order to buy, and someone else was a cash buyer, I mean, what offer would you accept?
Oh, of course. I'm going with the cash offer.
Absolutely. So I want to set you up so that when you find the right property, you're in a position where you can actually make an offer. So what we need to sit down and talk about is how to get your house on the market now so that when the right property comes up, you can actually make an offer on it. And if you don't find the right property, I can protect you and make sure you're not required to sell your home. Is that fair?
Yes, that's fair. That's where I was going.
Yeah, I like where you were going, though. I heard the whole feel, felt, found. And guys, if you don't know that script, it's really powerful. You have to practice it. And I'm a little rusty with it. But when people are saying things like, I don't want to put my house on the market because I haven't found a place to go yet, you want to empathize with them. I understand why you feel that way. I've had other people who have felt the same way. Here's what we found. It's a script, feel, felt, found. And it can be a story from your experience with your clients, or it can be something that you heard from another agent. one of their experiences. But if you learn how to tie that in and get the seller to understand how it affected other people, you can get them to kind of change their mind and open up their eyes to how to handle this situation differently. Thank you, Ashley. I appreciate it. Let me see here. Who do I want to go to? Mr. Hernandez. I'm not gonna let you be quiet here. You're saying no. Come on, girl. Come on. Let's get out. Let's learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Role play with me a little bit. It's gonna be an easy one, I promise.
Hi.
I'm proud of you for hitting unmute. This is how we do it, right? We got to get out of our comfort zone. It's a safe space, right? Like, I don't expect you to have the answer. This is why you're here, so we can help you work through how to find the answer. What if I said, listen, I appreciate everything you said. You seem like a nice lady. However, you don't have any experience selling houses in my town. And so we're really looking for someone that has the experience.
Yes, I understand that part, but let's look at it this way. I just came out of college. I studied real estate. I study real estate every single day. So I think you will get a lot of experience book-wise and all my dedication, because I really, really want to prove myself to you and get your house sold for top dollars.
Okay. So first and foremost, can we clap it up for her? Because she did not want to go and she went. And this is what we need. We need people to step up. So I'm proud of you for doing that. Jacqueline, role play with me really quickly and just tell me I don't have any experience. And this is one way to handle it. There are plenty of other ways, but say the objection to me, David, you don't have any experience.
David, you don't have the experience I need right now.
Jacqueline, I hear where you're coming from. Listen, I will tell you, I know what to do in order to get your property sold. I work with a great company that has trained me up and I am ready to go. Jacqueline, let me ask you this. Do you remember like when you graduated from college and you were going for your first job and you were applying to all these jobs and they kept denying you and they kept saying that you didn't have the experience?
Yes.
Yeah. Wasn't that frustrating? Because you're in your mind, you're thinking, well, how do I get the experience if nobody will hire me? Right?
Yes.
And you also knew that if whoever gave you your first shot, you were going to knock it out the park because you know what to do. You just needed someone to make a chance on you, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Jacqueline, that's the situation I'm in right now. So I hope you understand where I'm coming from. I have the training. I have the know-how. I know this market. I study prices. I look at homes every day. I know that I can help you. All I want is that opportunity, just like you wanted when you got out of college. Would you give me that opportunity today to show you that I can actually get your property sold? And here's a promise I'll make to you. In 30 days, if you're not happy with me, you can cancel the contract. Would you give me a shot?
30 days?
30 days.
Okay, you got a deal.
Do you think that would work, though? Do you think that objection would work?
Yeah.
I can tell you it will because I've used it. It will work. But there's another way to handle that. You don't have any experience. I want to see if, who can I get to unmute? You guys are hiding from me because you don't have your cameras on. Marlo, if you're able to unmute. You don't have any experience. So we're really looking for someone that has experience to list our property. How would you handle that?
I absolutely understand that, but I've spent a lot of time studying the market. I have a lot of knowledge and I have a great team that stands behind me to support me. So, I can get your home sold for you. And let's give it 30 days. And if you don't like it, you don't like my performance, then, we can cancel out the contract.
I hear you, and I wish I could do that for you. However, we got to get this property sold within 30 days. So I really need someone with experience. So I have to tell you at this point in time, I don't think it's going to work for us.
Ooh, I'm stuck.
What if you said, Marlo, or I'm going to be the agent, so I'm talking to you as if you're the seller. Marlo, I really appreciate where you're coming from, and I get it. And I think in your shoes, I might feel the exact same way. Let me ask you this. Other than my experience level, is there any other reason you wouldn't list your house with me?
I don't know. I don't feel confident.
Okay. So for you, it's just you don't have the confidence because I don't have the experience doing sales in your area.
Yes.
Okay. So I actually have a good friend of mine who's a top agent in your area. His name is Diego Colorado. If I connected and listed your home, but partnered up with him, someone with the experience, with the sales background that can get you the numbers you want, and you felt very confident in him, and you were getting 2 agents for the price of 1, would you agree to meeting with us then?
Sure. If I can meet Diego, that's yeah, we can do that.
Perfect. Because I know that I can sell your home, but I also hear you and I understand your concern. And so what I'm going to do is set up an appointment with you, and Diego and I will come by, and I know you'll be blown away with his experience and his knowledge.
Certainly. That
Okay.
sounds great.
So one thing I want to point out there, it's really important when we get objections that we isolate, because we want to make sure that if we overcome that objection, there are no other objections that we need to overcome. So if you notice, I said to you, other than my experience, is there any other reason you wouldn't list with me? Other than commission, is there any other reason you wouldn't list with me? We want to isolate it, and we want them to say yes or no. If there's another objection, I want to find everything out up front so I can cover everything. And so always make sure that you guys isolate the objection and make sure that's the only thing you're dealing with to help them make a decision to move forward. Good job, Marlo. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ashley Davison this time. How many Ashleys do we even have on this call? 1, 2, 3 Ashleys. How about that? I think that's the first on here. All right, so Ashley Davison, here's my question for you. Well, why should I hire you? It's not an objection, but I just want to see what your answer is. Why should I hire you?
You should hire me because I am dedicated to my clients through and through. Even after the transaction, I will always be there for you. So I am very dedicated. I put your needs above mine all the time.
Well, what's in it for me? Answer that and tell me what's in it for me.
For you, well, you said you wanted to go out to California and be with your family, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what's in it for you is getting sold for top dollar so you can make that move across the country, see your family, and enjoy your life.
Yeah, I like that. Let me tell you what I'm getting at right now. We have to learn to stop talking about, because a lot of times you should hire me because I hire professional photographers and I do staging. We talk about the process of what we do. I want you to answer that question talking about the results, what people get because they chose to hire you. There's a video, and if I remember, I'll put it in the chat. We shared this on Morning Mindset Call. Lisa Nichols. It's called Doing the Snap. Is where instead of your normal elevator pitch, you are talking about the results you get versus the process you go through. And people want to hear what's in it for them. So tell them, like you did with me, like, well, why you want to hire me is because you need to be in California by January. And like all my other clients, what they love about me is that I meet their deadline and I get their property sold and net them top dollar. That's what you're looking for, right? That's why you need to hire me. Talk about the results. All right, good job there. Melissa Smith.
Yes.
Question for you. I'm throwing out this. I don't want to sell my house right now because I don't want to give up my interest rate of 3%. So I think we're just going to stay put until interest rates come down.
Well, do you know what happens when interest rates go up?
When interest rates go up, prices come down.
Exactly. So if you're looking to purchase now, you can't change the interest rate. I'm sorry, you can't change the price that you're paying for your home, but you can always change the interest rate, right? You can always refinance down the road. So if you purchase now, you're going to purchase at a lower purchase price than you would if we were back at 3 and 4%. So you're really in a much better position. But a lot of people are scared because they're afraid to float that, that higher payment. But we know that, historically rates always come down at some point. So really it's kind of the smarter time to buy now, even though it might feel a little bit scary.
I like the way you explained that, Melissa. Good job of that. Because think about it. Somebody just kind of put in the chat, in the last 2 years, what's the most you heard someone overpay for a property that was listed? Just put it in the chat. Was it 50,000 more, 100,000 more? What was the most you heard someone overpay for a property in the last couple of years? 100K, 100? Angela Isaacs, who was on Zohar's team, there was a property in Montclair that sold $500,000 over list price. Right?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? So what I was thinking about today, and this is not perfected, I'm just kind of running this through with you guys, and maybe you can help me work on this objection handler. What I was thinking in my head to say was, Melissa, 2 years ago, there were people overpaying for prices. Interest rates were super low, but there were homes that sold for $500,000 over list price. And the thing about that is, yes, you can refinance interest rates, but that payoff you have on that loan can't be refinanced. That person is stuck paying $500,000 more, right? So when you say you don't want to sell your home right now because interest rates are high, you marry the house, you date the rate. You get the house at a good price now, and then when interest rates drop, you refinance. You have the option to refinance. Those people who overpaid don't have that option. Does that make sense?
Plus, your equity is higher now, right? Because prices have gone up so high. So before a recession hits, let's capitalize on that and get all that equity out.
Exactly. So here's the thing I really want to say about interest rates. I think all of us are concerned to get that objection from a seller. Let me ask you, if you really have a seller that is motivated and they have to sell their home, do interest rates matter? They don't matter.
Nope.
I remember when I moved from, where did we move from? Houston to Dallas, and interest rates were high. Well, guess what? We had to pay the higher interest rates to rent a house because we needed to sell. We were moving for a job relocation. So I will tell you, a lot of times we get caught up in what we think is overcoming an objection. However, it's really a condition. Some of these people just don't have to sell. And because interest rates are where they are, they don't want to sell. Those are people that should go in our pipeline, and maybe we should drip on those people. And when rates come down, we can reach out to them. But if they don't have the motivation to sell right now, they're never going to sell. And I think a lot of times we are trying to convince people to sell when they're not really highly motivated. Now, we can't motivate anybody. We can motivate them by asking questions like, well, if you did sell the house right now, where were you going to? Why is that important to you? What would that do for you? If we start, digging into what their motivation is, we may be able to convince them to sell. Because if I'm talking to a grandparent that wants to sell their house and move to Florida to be closer to their kids and their grandkids, I could say something like, I understand you don't want to pay the higher interest rates, but you can't put a price on the time you're losing with your family. What's more important to you, having that bond and being closer with your grandchildren, or what the interest rates are? Because you can always refinance, can't you? So if I know your motivation, I may be able to say something that will convince you to go ahead and sell. However, a lot of times I think when we get that pushback from sellers about interest rates, I'm not saying trash that lead. I think that's someone we have to build a relationship with. And over time, maybe in the next year or two, they'll be ready to work with us. I think we just need to do a better job of finding the motivated, which means we have to make more phone calls. We got to do more digging, and we have to ask more questions. We need to find people who are so motivated, it doesn't matter what interest rates are. They have to sell their home. They have to buy their home. It doesn't matter. Thanks, Melissa. All right. So last one before we go into like the Q&A section of it. I want to say this to you. Who do I want to choose? Actually, Melissa, put your hand down for me. This is my last objection right now. Somebody be bold and raise your hand. Someone that has not gone yet, raise your hand. Butterflies, you're sweating. Okay, I saw a hand. Okay, I saw David. There we go, David. You raise your hand. This is a tough one, man. So if you're like, Dave, I need some help on this, we'll jump in and help you out. Dave, listen, I know you called about my house being expired, and we are going to hire an agent, but our previous agent was from Keller Williams, and we're not going to relist with a Keller Williams agent.
David, I can appreciate you feeling that way, but can you tell me a little bit more why it's Keller Williams that you have a problem with and not that particular agent?
I mean, listen, just in general, like nobody else from their office came out and saw the property. I didn't see any activity with Keller Williams at all. And so I just think we need to try another company and see what they can offer us.
I can appreciate that, but let me ask you this, David. Have you ever had a situation at your job where someone on your team did something and someone didn't want to do business with you?
I'm dealing with that right now. It's funny you should bring that up. So yes, I've had that experience.
Right. Like you can lose an account, or, a big client, because of someone on your team. I can't speak to what that agent did or didn't do, but I know that, BCP Partners, which is the conglomerate of Keller Williams agents, the agencies that I belong to, we're the #1 brokerage in Bergen County. So I don't know where you would go, to find someone better than Keller Williams. I think you may have come across a situation that didn't work for you, but I wouldn't, demonize the entire organization. What I would like to do is maybe introduce you to some of the people on our staff that are going to assist me in getting your property sold. We've got a mortgage company, we've got a title company, we've got preferred loan officers, we've got the #1 agent in Bergen County, works in Keller Williams City Life. So I think you maybe need to see some of those people. And if that means you coming into the office and, getting a feel for who we are as an organization, then that might be something that we need to do. Would you be open to something like that?
All right. So David, I like where you were going. I like all the questions you were asking me. Here's the one thing you did, and I just felt like you needed to do one more step. You brought up the situation about someone in your office not doing a good job and you were potentially going to lose an account, right? I would have loved for you to say, David, what would you have said to that potential client about leaving? Why would you tell them they should stay with your company and not leave? And then I would have said, well, you had a situation with this particular person. We all have different backgrounds. We all have different training. Let me show you my results and what I do for my clients, right? And then you could turn around and say, exactly, same situation here. You had a bad experience with one agent. I don't know who that is, and I don't want to talk bad about them. What I want you to focus on is what I've done for my clients. So all I'm asking is for an opportunity, just like you would have wanted an opportunity with your client, to sit down and just show what you do differently. And after that, if you don't see a difference, if you don't have confidence in me, then I would be okay with you going somewhere else. So when can we meet? Like, if you would have just added that in, I think you really easily could have converted. Good job, man. I like that. That was really good. That was really good. All right, guys. So let me ask you, and just put yes in the chat. Was today helpful, what we were going through? Should it have been harder? Was it too easy? Tell me, because I want to know how to tweak the next one. But I had a few questions come in. And one thing I want to say really quickly is stop focusing so quickly on trying to convert the people you're talking to. Work on connecting with them first. One thing I'm noticing from all the script practices I listen to, people go in for the sale too quickly. They go in for the close too quickly. And all they really know is this person wants to sell. You're not connecting. You're not understanding motivation. So slow down a little bit and dig into motivation. Why are you selling? Why is that important? What will that do for you, right? How will you feel once you're there? Dig into the motivation. And someone else asked me, how do you deal with rejection? When I used to lead gen, and if you find any pictures of me in the old Wyckoff office on the phone, you will see me with one of these hats on in different colors. New York Yankees hat, right? I don't even watch baseball, right? To me, I wore this as a reminder that when I was getting rejected, they weren't telling me no, they were telling me not yet. And the reason I knew that is because I kept in touch and continued to follow up, and they ended up either listing with me or somebody else. So when they were saying no, they weren't saying no that they weren't listing their house. They were saying not yet. Maybe they weren't motivated enough. Maybe you didn't overcome their objection well enough. Maybe you weren't asking the right questions. You have to understand that the rejection is not about you. You still have to continue to do your job. And the other thing you have to understand, and I know you guys have heard me say this before, you're on this call right now to learn scripts. The seller is at home getting calls from a lot of agents. They're also learning a script. They're learning what to say to you to get you off the phone. And they know that when they tell most agents, I'm not interested, I'm not selling my home, or they yell at you or they hang up on you and they reject you, they know that 90% of you won't even call back. So that has become their script. I'm just going to say I'm not interested in selling, or I'm just going to hang up, or I'm going to curse them out, and you guys never call back. So what I want you to know is, if you understand that they're a motivated seller, I don't care if they hang up on you or curse you out. If you want the listing, you need to continue to call back, because eventually they're going to get to a point where they recognize they have to look at some other options, that they have to get this property sold. And they're going to list with the person that continues to follow up and shows value. I love when people hang up on me. I consider it a game. I always say to myself, like, oh, you hung up? Okay, I'm going to make you love me. I'm going to make you work with me. And I continue to call back, and I'll stop by their house, or if they're for sale by owner, I'll go to the open house and I'll get to know them and I'll show them my value. I'll call up on the Monday and I'll say, hey, did your property get sold? Well, no, it didn't. Wow, well, our office, we had an open house this weekend. We had 50 groups through. We got 13 offers, and the house sold 40 grand over list price. Are you interested in hearing how we can do that for you? Yes, great, I'll come by. No, great, I'll talk to you next week. And I just keep calling and calling and calling. What you have to understand with prospecting, you tend to get your yes, not on the first contact. How many times do you have to talk to that person before they actually may say yes? Minimum, how many times? Anybody know? There you go, David, 8 to 12. So what I will say to you, if you're not committed to calling for 8 weeks or 12 weeks, don't even make the initial call. The key here is you always are going to get rejected on your first call, your second call, your third call. It's, are you willing to stay through and call 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 times? If you're willing to do that, that's how you create the opportunity. Don't allow them to outscript you. You have to outscript them. I'll tell you guys a quick story, and then I'm going to get into the next question. I was calling expireds in West Milford, and I called, and this lady answered, Nicole. We were having a great conversation about her property, and then she had to go. She was telling me why she thought it expired and she needed to get her home sold, and she abruptly got off the phone. And so for the next week, I called this lady every day, and she never picked up my call. I wanted this listing. I knew I could sell her house. I was like, hey, Nicole, it's David. Give me a call back. I want to talk to you about getting your home sold. Next day, hey, Nicole, it's David. I know I called you yesterday. The reason why I'm calling is I know I can help you, and I just want to make sure you don't forget to call me back. The next day, hey, Nicole, is like, I'm calling this woman constantly for over a week. And I was sitting in the living room and my phone rings, and it was late in the evening, about 9:30. And I looked down and it was Nicole calling me back. So I answered the phone. I was like, hey, Nicole, how are you? She starts off the call by saying, I have to apologize. I got all your messages. As you know, I'm going through a divorce. I'm a nurse. I just started a new job. I have been completely swamped. When can you come over? I went over and sold her house. But it's because I did not stop calling. I stayed top of mind. I showed her, like, I want your business. So many of us will call for 1 week, and then we'll skip. And then 3 weeks later, we might call again. And then 3 weeks later, we go to call again. It's listed with someone else. You have to have a follow-up system that you're diligent about, where you're calling them every single day, every single week, no matter what. And I actually want to show you guys something. Hold on 1 second. I don't know where it is. I'm working on my office. Anyhow, I have an accordion folder that you can buy from Staples, and it's labeled 1 through 31, and it has slots for letter size paper. So what I do, and here's what I recommend you guys do. My scripts for sale by owners, I print out 25 at a time, expires 25 at a time. When I get someone on the phone and they start answering my questions, I'm writing down their answers on the script. And then that script becomes my lead sheet. I put their name and phone number and address on the top. If I'm talking to them today on the 3rd, and I know I want to call back in a week, I go to the 10 and I put that paper in on the slot for number 10. That way on November 10th, when I come to work, that's on my desk. I reach in and grab everybody who I'm supposed to call on the 10th. And here's the secret. Here's the secret. I call every single person. No call bias. I don't care if last week they cursed me out. I call them every single time. If they're in that section, I call them no matter what. If they haven't returned my call, if I always get voicemail, I don't say, I'm going to skip this one. I call every single time. And that's what led to me having success, is because I was really consistent. Diego, go ahead.
Quick question, which I've been wondering about what to do myself with the follow-up. I know you used Vulcan 7, so did you follow up directly from the dialer or from your cell phone? Like now you like, and you would put them as a contact on your cell phone as soon as, you got Nicole, right? And you left her a bunch of messages.
Yeah.
And then she called you back. So you already had her saved as a contact on your phone. So you know who exactly is calling back. Is that
yes.
correct?
what I did, so they would stay in my Vulcan $7 until I got them on the phone. Once I got them on the phone and I had a conversation with them, Diego, they went into my accordion folder. And then all of my follow-up calls was based on what day they were in on my folder. So I just used the dialer to get through a lot of people and get people on the phone. And once we had a conversation, I understood motivation and I knew they were serious. They went into my folder because those were the people that I was really focused on. You know, I put those people into my pipeline, and I had a system where I would label my leads. As an example, if somebody wanted to sell in November, they were a 10. If they wanted to sell in December, they were a 9. If they wanted to sell in January, they were an 8. And so I would always look at that. And if it was somebody who was a 10 or a 9, I might not be calling once a week. I might now be calling twice a week, or I might be calling once and going by their house and door knocking or sending a text. So depending on what their number was in that accordion folder, it would tell me, okay, these people are really close. I got to be a little bit more hands-on with the follow-up to make sure that I stay top of mind when they're ready to make a decision.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
So you would call them from your phone and not Vulcan?
Yep, I would call them directly from my phone. Anything in that accordion folder, that was the thing to say yes, Diego, I use my phone. Absolutely, go ahead.
I was about to say that. So do you use your regular number or do you use the Vulcan 7 number? So you use your regular number, because I'm having issues with that now. I do the same where I'll use Vulcan 7, but once we have a conversation, I let them know that I'm going to text them from my phone, and I call them and I keep in touch with them that way. But what I've have is this one woman that told me call her back in November. This was back in July. And I called her in September and October, and I've kind of like been calling her a little diligently. Now it's November and I call her and I come to see that I'm blocked, and she like blocked me on everything. So I did my Google Voice number and she blocked me too. So I was like, now I got to go back and try to call her from another Vulcan number.
Well, listen.
Now knock on the door.
Yeah, I was going to say, go see her. Go knock on the door, send her a letter. Right? See if she's on Facebook or LinkedIn, send her a direct message. That's what I would do.
I don't think that's a little stalkerish.
I mean, do you want the listing or not?
Okay.
You don't know why she blocked you. She may not have realized she was blocking you. It may not be personal. However, if you really want it, you got to go get it. And I think making calls is great, but you should have other ways of following up with people. One thing I did that really served me well, who still sends out postcards, like just listed, just sold postcards? Few of you do. So what I would do when I listed a property, when it was under contract, when it sold, I had a company that I would order postcards from. I didn't send those out to the neighborhood. I had those sent to my house. So I would write, like if I called a for sale by owner, I would write a letter to them on the just sold postcard. Hey, Ashley, thank you for talking to me about your house on 123 Main Street. I will definitely follow up with you. If you have any questions for me, please call me. And so in between making phone calls, when I did want to reach out and send a note, I always send it on one of my postcards, because what I'm doing is I'm making sure that I'm showing them I'm the type of agent they want to hire. I'm listing property. I'm putting it under contract. I'm selling property. They're constantly getting these messages from me showing that I can do the job they would want the agent to do. And it just helped keep me top of mind. And one thing I realized is when I finally got in the house, they kept every note card I sent them. They kept every postcard I sent them. Everything was sitting on the table. So they were actually looking at that information. They were keeping that information. So if you guys want to try that out, I would tell you, get a just sold postcard, and then send those out to your expireds and your for sale by owners. Any correspondence you want to have with them, send it out on the postcard and watch how that works for you. You will find people more open to talking with you because now they're seeing your face, they know your name, they're hearing your voice, you're doing diligent follow-up. It'll serve you well. All right, so the other question I had was, how do I use scripts without sounding robotic? I have an answer for this, but Diego, Jason, Ashley, anybody else, if you have an answer for this, feel free to chime in. For me, it's just practice. You study it. Yep, you study it. You write it down like I have everybody do on the push right now. You read it out loud and you practice it. Once you know it and it's internalized, then it starts coming out like you. It sounds like you. It's not robotic anymore. It's not canned anymore. So it's just a matter of studying the scripts and getting comfortable with them and making them your own. I also recommend you record yourself. use your cell phone, do the voice memo, and just record yourself listening to the script. And when you're walking your dog or washing dishes or working out, play back those scripts, play back those objection handlers, and you'll start to internalize them just from hearing the script over and over again. And one day you'll be on the phone and somebody will give you an objection and you'll overcome it. Like, where'd that come from? It's because it's up here. And having it up here allows you to be part of that conversation and not be thinking about what do you say next? You know, last week when we did this call, we were getting on Raj because Raj wasn't listening. He wasn't listening to the seller. And he wasn't listening because he was thinking on how he needed to respond. If you have the scripts and the objections internalized, you know how to respond, and it allows you to be part of the conversation. Diego, did you have something you want to say? I saw you pick up your camera. I wanted to make sure I give you a chance.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say about recording yourself and listening to it in the car, in the shower, you know, kind of everywhere, you know, and just repeat it. Like, you know, you can listen, pause, and then if it helped me memorize, right? Pause and then say what's coming next, and then hit play to make sure I did say what was, you know, the next part of the script correctly. And then, you know, you internalize it. Once you internalize it, and depending on what your market is, right, you put your own different words into it, right? By, you know, everybody uses different words, right? So now you can mirror and match and just switch words around, you know.
I love it. I love it. And this here, probably one of the best investments I had, the Olympus. I recorded all my scripts, and every time I went on the FSBO preview or on the listing presentation, as I'm walking up to the door, I would hit record and put it in my pocket, and I would record the entire presentation, or I would do it on my phone and just hit record and put my phone down. They didn't know I was recording. I didn't share it with anybody except my coach. I went back and I reviewed the tape. And Deion Sanders is coaching his people. They lost a game. He was like, we're going to go review the tape and see what we did wrong. That's what you have to do after a presentation, after a meeting. Go back and review the tape, especially if you didn't get the outcome you were looking for. Discover why. Is it because you were talking too much? Is it because you weren't listening? Is it because you didn't follow the script? You will be able to figure those things out if you go back and review the tape. I'm going to wrap it up by going to Jason, Emily, and then Julia. Go ahead, Jason.
Okay, yeah, I mean, everything you guys said was correct. Definitely recording, repeating is helpful. After you get to a certain part where you start to memorize the scripts or what you're supposed to say, understanding why you're saying it allows you to have that easy conversation, because then you actually want to know, and you know you need this answer. So instead of it being a script of like, where are you going? Why is that important to you? It's like, where are you going? Why is that important to you? I want to know, like, tell me. So it comes naturally over time, but yeah, repeating it. And of course, recording yourself is definitely the easiest first steps, because you can hear if you sound weird, and you can at least change it for now so that when you do start to sound natural, it'll actually just become natural anyway.
Jason, I love that you said that. And you know how your voice inflected, like, where are you going, right? I think that's so awesome that you do that. And a lot of times people will share things like, hey, I got a job promotion. I'm going to become the CFO of my company. I have to move to California. Well, how soon do you have to be there? Come on, like, congratulations on that. What a big deal. Like, be a human and just be part of the conversation and congratulate people, and then go back into your script. You want to connect with people, right? You got to work on the connection. Good job, Jason. Emily, go ahead.
Would you mind giving the model number of that Olympus?
I'll put it in the chat. I'm typing it in right now. It'll be right in there. And I've had it for a number of years, so I can't swear that you'll be able to get the same one, but I'm sure they'll have something similar on Amazon. So I'm putting it in the chat right now.
And then you had it turned on and you said you had it in your pocket?
I would either have it in my pocket, or I used to bring a folder with me for my listing presentation. So I would just either put it like in the folder and put the folder down where they couldn't see the recorder. And then once cell phones improved and I had good quality on my cell phone, I would just do my voice memo on my phone as I was walking to the door. And then I would just set my phone on the table and let it record. And the reason I recommend you do it as you're walking into the door, the minute they answer the door and say hello, your head is so many different places, you're not going to remember to hit record. So just do it as you walk up to the door, and that way you know it's recording. Turn off the phone so they can't see it's recording, and set it right on the table and have your conversation.
Do you have an Apple or an Android?
Apple, but they work the same. You know, you can get a voice memo on either one and it works the same. So to be honest with you, I don't even know if I would recommend buying this because this is always with you and it's so much easier to just use your phone. I got this because cell phones weren't what they were when I was doing this. So thanks, Emily. Julia.
Good morning, everybody. Sorry, I was a little bit late. I have a question for you. So, yesterday I was doing circle prospecting around a listing that was not mine, and it was a coming soon, and I was going like in a radius around it, just letting people know that, you know, a home is on the market. And if they were interested in, you know, finding out what their home was worth in today's market, you know, that script. And I spoke to a gentleman and he's like, I'm not really interested now. I said, that's great. I'm going to shoot you over my my contact information through text. And I said, hold on to it. And when you are, you know, give me a call. And he texted me back. He's like, 5 bedrooms, $700,000. And so so I'm like, okay, what is that? Like, so how do and I responded to him. I said, if you want me to do a CMA on your property, I'd love to. Yeah, I'm going to reach back out to him again. He didn't respond to my response, my follow-up to that. And it was just basically, I could do a CMA on your property, you know, tell me a little bit about your house. But I am going to call him again today. But what would you say to that just blanket statement? It was $700,000, 5 bedrooms.
Fantastic. So you are interested in selling. I'm going to set up a time to come by and go over comparables with you and talk to you about the market, what time works best. And before I go to the house, though, I'm actually going to pre-qualify. I'm going to talk about if I can get you that $700,000, where are you moving to? Why is that important? I'm going to really dig and see if there's some motivation there, because if it's just a number and I can get the number, great. If I can't get the number, but there's motivation there, maybe I can convince him to lower the price so that we can actually help him achieve the goals. But I'm gonna actually dig a little deeper in that. Jason, Ashley, Diego, you guys have any different answer to that?
Thank you.
I would have said just mirror and match. He texted you, so just text back and say, hey, so 5 bedrooms, how many bathrooms, and just ask him a whole bunch of questions to describe the property.
Yep.
You did? And he didn't answer?
Not yet, no. But that doesn't mean it's over.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
He showed interest, so.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
I did ask him all those questions. I'm sorry, David. What'd you say?
No, I just said that's the biggest thing right there. He's answering you back a little. So now it's just a matter of continuing to follow up with him, and don't take his silence. So a lot of people, one of the comments they put in is, what do I do when I'm attempting to follow up with someone and they're not returning my calls? They're not acknowledging the text. What do I do? I say you keep calling and you keep texting. I gave you guys the example of Nicole's house. I mean, I called this woman for over a week straight every single day because I wanted the listing. And so I eventually got it because I didn't give up. I didn't let another agent get in there and take that listing from me. All right. And
you could also send I don't know if you got the email. You could send, like a market kind of update in that area. Like, hey, here's like a general market update on your area. You can do that by mail as well. Different types of touches.
Yeah. No, that's a great idea. I don't have his email, but I do have video text, and I could send him a quick little video of
make a video of you explaining the market in that area.
Yeah.
Do that video.
And Julia, that's a great idea.
I saw your question in the chat when I was talking about Nicole and her house in West Milford. The address on that property was 436 Warwick Turnpike.
Okay. Because I know I've shown one of your, I don't know how many listings, but I feel like you may have had a couple up here, but
I had a big horse ranch up in West Milford.
Yeah, on Union Valley. That's what it was.
That's exactly it. Isn't that crazy? And that was a personal owner that I converted when I got that listing. That was a FSBO.
Wow. Yeah. She was on and off for a while. That's awesome. It's a great house. I remember you. And I actually met you in person. You were there.
Yep. And that's something. Small world, right? Small world. All right, guys, I want to say thank you for your time today. I really want to be respectful of your time. Was this helpful today? Yeah. All right, good, good. I'll continue to do these if you guys continue to show up. I want to help, and I also need to sharpen my saw too. I've been off the phones for a while, so for me, getting on here, it kind of helps sharpen my saw, and I hope I can help you guys think about scripting and objection handling a little differently. One thing I will tell you, record your calls. If you want to learn, record your calls. That's the best way to figure out what you can say to get the results that you want. And then the other thing I'm going to say as we get off of here, have several role play partners. I recommend 5 days a week, have 5 different role play partners. If a seller gives you an objection you can't handle, every day for 5 days, you should give that objection to your different role play partners. Listen how they handle that objection and write it down. So now you have 5 ways to handle this objection should it come up again. That's how you build your repertoire. That's how you build your script book, is by giving different objections to different people. And so get on the phones, like Diego said last week. He was saying the best way to learn is get on the phone, call the actual seller, let them give you the pushback. Figure out how to overcome it, call them back. You figure out how to overcome it by giving the objection to your role play partners and hearing how they overcome it. So I hope you guys get to work. Thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate it this morning. I'm out of here.
Thank you.
I didn't eat breakfast. I'm starting to feel a little dizzy, so I got to go get some food. But I will see you guys later on. Y'all be good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
You're welcome. Jason, really quickly, someone was asking, do you have a Zoom link? So if you have a Zoom link for any practice you want to do, send it to me. And when I send the recording out to everybody who attended, I'll put your link in the email so people know how to find you.
I don't have a Zoom. Like I just private messaged them with my number, just saying text me after. So.
Okay. Well, if you want to, are you okay if I put your number in the email and say if you guys want to role play, call Jason?
Sure. Yeah.
Done. I'll get it done. All right. I'll do it for you. Good seeing you, man.
Thank you very much. You
Are
too.
you going to triple play?
No.
Okay.
I had a bad experience one year. It was a little rough.
Yeah, I kind of remember that.
I haven't gone back. I don't know why.
Oh, were you in the fight?
Oh, kind of.
Yes.
It was before. Got it started. All right. Well, nice to see you, David, again. Really cool that you got this together, and look forward to